Hello, everyone. I hope you're keeping safe and well. Welcome to episode number 16 of the Isolated Ape podcast. Today, I have Amy Begley. The reason I wanted to chat with Amy, her sister's been living in China for the last 20 years, and Amy's a regular visitor there. She was last there in December and January. So as this pandemic was kind of coming to the fore, she was in China. She flew back to France, where she lives, another hotspot at the moment for coronavirus. And also her partner went to Milan on a business trip in between that. So pretty much the coronavirus spreaders. They're obviously not. But no, they've got some interesting stories where her sister is now. They left China for a little while and probably can't get in there get back into China for probably until September. So, just wanted to hear about what's going on that side of the world. We also chat about what it's like living in France. She's in Nantes at the moment, and one of the themes that kept coming up was the amount of riots that are happening and the reason for those riots. So that was an interesting chat. And we also discussed the music industry. Amy's got a couple of family members that are involved in the music industry. She's had kind of access to that kind of to the music industry and big gigs and meeting a few stars. And we chat about who are the ones that were down to earth and who are the divas and the dickheads. And yeah, she's very open about it. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope you do too. So have a listen and enjoy. Peace.
Joke, it makes me higher than a motherfucker. There's no rolling around, keeping in with the crowd, keeping it around for people this say.
And we're off round 2. Ding ding. So welcome Amy Begley. How are you?
I'm good. You'd never think we work for technology companies.
I know. So for everyone listening, we were 6 minutes in and something went wrong. I don't even know what went wrong. It was definitely my end by the sounds of things.
I blame the French internet over here.
Okay, cool. So we were having a right good chat as well, and you gave me a load of interesting information. And do you know when you go back and do these things again, it's never the same, right? But we'll just fly through it as quick as right. So Begley is Amy Begley is the coronavirus pandemic causer. That was pretty much what we'd got through, right?
Subject, what is it? Subject 0, they call it?
Yeah. So tell us, you were in. So we'll start again. Obviously, you're based in France at the moment, but you were over Christmas and New Year. You were.
So
you're in China.
There's 2 people to blame for that. There's me and there's...
yes, Petit Pois. What's happening, Clement? How are you, man?
How are you?
I'm very good. And the dog as well. The dog. How's life treating you?
Not too bad.
Good.
For me, man. I'm working from home.
Yeah, all the same. Yeah, me too. We're all working from. I think our industry, we're lucky that we can. Do you know what I mean? It's not been any different, but yeah, man. Nice to see you. How are you keeping? Yeah. All good?
Yeah, very busy at the moment.
And you caused the coronavirus pandemic, you did?
I did, yeah. Traveled the world for that.
From China.
Travel the world.
From
China to France to Milan and back again. And in that time, we're all fucked. Cheers, mate.
I'm going to jump in. All right, get back to work.
Get back to work. Yeah, so it's his fault.
Yeah, 100%. So in a nutshell, in like 5 weeks before this became global, we had been to 2 of the hotspots, Beijing, Milan.
Okay.
And then pretty much world went into lockdown. So
that was what we'd spoke about. That's a 2-minute recap of a 6-minute conversation we had previously, right? Yeah. So, but I think some of the interesting stuff that you haven't spoke about is obviously your sister has been in Beijing for 20 years, and you visit quite a lot. And when you were there that time, there was nothing unusual. There was nothing different around January time there.
Actually, when I was thinking after, the only thing that I remember, and my sister and my brother-in-law being a bit like, this is a bit weird, but it's Christmas. Maybe it's an influx of tourists. We were downtown, like out for drinks or whatever. And we'd come out and there was like army tanks and trucks and cops lined up everywhere, and that was kind of unusual to see. But we were just like, oh, maybe there's like some.
You didn't think of a pandemic at the time to do with a virus. It was more
100%. Like government officials were kind of coming in and around, but again, that's not unusual in a city like Beijing because of who they're dealing with, like America, Europe, Russia, etc. So, but is it because they were having official meetings about like, Christ, we need to tell the world somebody fucked up here and we need to get this sorted? But other than that, it was like everything was open. Like there was no restrictions on anything. Like we don't do tourist spots anymore, but like you see them, like they're still full swing. So yeah, it was weird.
And you were telling me then that they'd gone to visit Thailand. Yeah.
So once they had done, I think it was like say 2 or 3 weeks in Beijing when the lockdown happened. So restrictions on going out, and then that gets quite hard in Beijing because the pollution was getting bad. So they're as a family, they can do everything remote through school. So they were like, we're going to get out. At least let's go somewhere where we can still enjoy freedom. So they went to Thailand, they went to Bangkok, and then down to like some island. And they've been there since February 15th, 16th. And they're there till at least August 31st.
Wow. And that's because they can't get back in, right? Is that what you are?
So basically government have said anybody who's left Beijing cannot re-enter Beijing until at least mid-July. And that's if they decide to open it back up. If you're a Westerner in Beijing, you're fine. You carry on as normal because restrictions have lifted in Beijing. So it's a tough one because they want to get back to family and friends there, and it's like So I don't know.
It's risky. Yeah.
I will say one thing that the Thai government have actually been really good with all the Westerners that are, we'll say stranded there because it's probably the easiest word to say. You don't need a visa for up to 30 days. After 30 days, you need to get a visa. And I think you can only get it like once in a time period. But the Thai government have lifted that restriction and basically have said like, you're good until August.
Yeah. If you're stuck here, well, we're not going to get in trouble for being stranded here.
Exactly. And like they have restrictions in like, so they've stopped selling alcohol. I don't know why. It makes weird. That makes no sense. But I think it's to like limit like social interaction. But there's no social distancing ban in place. So I don't really get it. But
that makes it a bit confusing. All right, have one or have both, or don't have any.
Yeah, exactly. But like they're down at the beach. They're in and out of their pool. There's no kind of like restrictions like that for them. Stores have closed. That's about it. So
okay. Oh well, I suppose it could be. There's a lot worse places to be stranded and locked down.
100%. I mean, if you've got a beach and a pool and like 40 degrees every day, I'll take that.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I'll take that over my back garden, no doubt. Yeah. And I've been very impressed with how my back garden's helped me over these last few weeks. But I'd much rather that. And then Begley, let's go back, man. I remember when we first started working together. We started on the first day, right? We had our first day in Dell the same day. And you had a very intriguing and fun job before that, didn't you? I thought it was. You obviously left it for a reason, but it's something to do with the music scene and what have you. What was the crack with that?
So with my uncle, how do I say that? He's basically sound engineer for U2 for the last, I think this is his 40th anniversary with them around that time. So he has a company called Claire Bros or Claire Brothers, depending on what way you read it. And they basically bring in artists from wherever into like, we'll say the RDS, the Point at the time. So it used to be called the Point. Three Arena
now.
The Divas Stadium. You've got like all the hot spots in Dublin. So we would work with, I'll say work, might actually be a very loose term because it was like, work, but we're still kind of like,
having a couple of drinks here and there.
No, you're never meant to do that. But so I did that for a couple of years, and it got a bit. It's not like you don't have the life. You don't have the like. Hey, do you want to meet up Friday night and go for drinks? I'm like, I don't know what time I'm off, or I can't. 5 a.m. Saturday morning. So it's it's not a life that I'd ever enjoy for a long
Wanted. Yeah.
No, 100%. Like,
And then you got to meet some really cool. Well, I suppose again, are they cool people? They're just famous people, right? And they're good musicians. I don't know if they're cool or not. Who was the kind of name some of the people there that you would have interacted with? I suppose.
so Kings of Leon, we did when they were before they were Kings of Leon. Like,
Yeah.
So they opened up for U2. Ooh, probably about 10, 15 years. Oh God. Oh, if I say that, I sound really old now. Probably about
We are.
Yeah,
We are really old now. Yeah.
like 10 years ago, and they were like super chill guys because they were young. They were like, you know, trendy and stuff like that. And then let's just say fame changes people.
Okay.
U2 were looking to do like a charity gig or something at the time, and Kings of Leon were Kings of Leon, like
The big-
Fire and like all the bangers that everybody was like, oh, big songs. Hey guys, interested in doing this charity gig with us? And
they weren't as cool as they were.
nah, there was a fee involved.
Okay.
You're like,
Yeah. Typical, huh?
Word charity didn't
Yeah. Help us out. Yeah.
But not even in the music industry. It's like we interacted a lot with sports people because I guess what my uncle does in the industry, and being in Ireland, it is very, very niche. So it's like he's involved with like sports and like testimonial dinners. Am I saying that right? Yeah, testimonial.
Yeah.
So like for Dennis Irwin, Ryan Giggs, like because he's been a United head for like since he was born. So we've got to interact with a lot of those guys. I think to this day, and this sounds so shit, but it's something we grew up with. Like when I met Victoria Beckham for the first time, like that was literally like I was 8 or 9. No, I might be a little bit older because Brooklyn was probably only like 1 or 2. So whatever.
Okay.
And
I wouldn't have a clue.
I think that has been my favorite because she pushed David Beckham to get in for a picture with me. She was like, "Go and ask him," and I was like, "No." And she was like, "Go and ask him." I was like, "No." And then she called him.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Don't touch me.
Yeah. Cool. And it's good to see that you get people that are absolute megastars that are sound and normal, and then you get fellas that like Kings of Leon, obviously a certain age of people, or if you're a music fan, would know the Kings of Leon, but you know they're not. If you went, deep into, I don't know, Delhi and asked someone if they knew of Kings of Leon, they'd probably no idea, but they know who David Beckham is. Like, do you know what I mean? It's mad.
And it is nice. Like when you see, like I know people rip certain celebrities being for overnight and like it's all for camera, and you can say majority of it is they have to be, but like there's some artists where I hadn't interacted, but because of my uncle, his kids have gotten into the industry, and they're doing very similar jobs to him. And one of the roles that his daughter does was like she basically manages all the security, and it was only in the US these 3 particular artists did like a mini tour or whatever you call it. It wasn't a tour, but it was like they combined like certain cities together. And there was 2 things. One of the artists didn't want any white people backstage. The second artist, you couldn't look her in the eye. And at this time,
tell me who they are. Come on, you can't do that. You got a name drop. That's fucking rubbish if you don't tell us.
I won't say about the racist thing because I think that's like a weird thing. But one of the artists who you couldn't look her in the eye, and it was devastating because my cousin was like, "My sister and my cousin like love you guys. Can we get your autograph?" And it was Christina Aguilera, and she was like, she would do the whole like, "I told you not to look in my eyes," and my cousin was like, these are kids, like just sign there. And then I was like, this is why I prefer Britney Spears.
Yeah.
It's like you have really like I've heard some absolute mental shit. Like Eminem only ever wanted fried chicken in his green room, and that was it. I was like, what? Like no girls backstage. Like not when he became clean.
Yeah.
It's like you have like. Actually, another person. I was a kid again for this. It was Alanis Morissette. She played what is now the 3 Arena, or whatever. She was actually pretty, like, very chill. Like you'd walk into a room and you wouldn't know it was Alanis Morissette. Like she was just in the crowds, like sitting with us having drinks and
yeah.
So yeah, it's.
Do you know what? I went to see Tash Sultana recently, right? Do you know of her? I was only talking about her in the last podcast that was released. Actually, she's a musician from Australia. Plays multiple instruments, uses a loop pedal, builds her own kind of tracks, and then has a beautiful voice as well. But like all self-taught and very, very impressive. You should definitely check her out. But she comes across as very, like, she reminds me a lot of Alanis Morissette in her the way that she kind of comes across. Like, she came out at one point. She'd started this track, and then she disappeared backstage, and everyone was kind of like, "Where's she gone? She's got toilet." She's just leaving it play for 5 minutes while she runs up or whatever, you know. And then she just comes out of the side, and she's coming into the crowd playing a guitar, and there's like 4 or 5 security kind of making a decent side, but giving her a decent bit of space. And it was kind of just behind us. We were to the right hand side of the stage, and that was the bit that she came off, you know. And I thought there was a fight, right? Because I just see loads of people running over, so I turned around, and me being me, like, just started running towards it. I was like, "I'll have a look at this. This would be good." And then, and I turned around and I saw that Tash Sultana was just bouncing around with the guitar, and I ran over. I was like, "Sarah, come look." Sarah thought it was a fight too. Come in, shoot off. No, she didn't.
I got this. Yeah. That's what I enjoy about artists like that. Like, especially if it's in a smaller arena. We, Clement and myself, it was actually for our first anniversary, our first year anniversary, we went to see Macklemore in the Academy in Dublin. So he played the O2, whatever the hell it's called, and then basically bounced over to the Academy at midnight. So you get like a private session. There was like probably 300 people in there, and you know, we had it was Chance the Rapper opened before him, so it was before he was Chance the Rapper. So I was like, we got to see him, and he, like, at the time we were like, cool, but I'm here for Macklemore. And he came out, and we were standing in the crowd, and like we were watching him, and I was like, "What is he doing?" And he climbed across the crowd, climbed onto the barrier, like the balcony, the crowd. Like, when you see artists like that who don't necessarily give a shit about, like, not their safety, but like, you know, they're comfortable with doing it.
Like getting involved with the crowd and getting into the crowd. That's huge.
And he's just like smashing it out, and I was like, "This is what I prefer than over 70,000 people sitting there." And you're like, "Okay."
Yeah. Like I've always said that, like, the biggest disappointment. I'm a huge Jay-Z fan, and I got a chance to go and see him again at the Point, or the 3 Arena as it was, and he had Timbaland DJing for him, and it was a brilliant gig, in fairness. But you're miles back, you're miles away, you can't see him, and hip hop doesn't translate well to a live gig in a big arena. Whereas if you can get to a hip hop gig where you can see the whites of the person's eyes, it's that's where you'll feel. But you need to get them then when they're not the star. Do you know what I mean? They need to be early,
like when Kanye
or on the back end.
Yeah,
you know, me and a few of the lads went to see Jizza from Wu-Tang. Fuck me, man, he was shit. He was like in
the old
Cypress Avenue.
Yeah.
Well,
they all go
up
there.
in Cypress Avenue. And they'd just done it up, and we went to see Maverick Sabre like 2 weeks before in there, and the sound was amazing, and it was perfect. And then I knew one of the guys who was DJing after, who was doing the sound as well, kind of included in the sound, Justin. And I went up to him after, and I was like, "That sound was shocking, and I was here 2 weeks ago for Maverick Sabre, and it was brilliant. What the fuck was that about?" And he goes, "It's just a 50-year-old man who don't give a fuck anymore." Do you know what I mean? He's here just saying what he has to say, really. He's not putting anything into it. And I really felt that, you know?
Yeah. It does make a difference. It's all, I prefer seeing them before rather than after, because I think they've done their you know, I enjoyed you when I was that age. It doesn't make sense now. Like Kanye West, when we saw him in the Marquee when it was the College Dropout album. Probably one of the sickest performances I've ever seen. And if you were like, "Here's a Kanye West ticket now," I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." Like,
We went up. Me, Kev, and Seamus went to see Ocean Wisdom, who's a UK rapper that we're all quite into. His albums are class, and he's got the record for being like, he does double timing, so he raps really fast, right? And he's got the record for the most lyrics in a 3-minute verse. It beat Eminem and Twister and all this. So he's got, like, he's very good at what he does, right? And very clear. But we went up to the Academy to see him. We were like, "This would be great. It's only small venue. We'll get to see him and we'll feel it. It'll be a buzz." And we went up there, and there was this, I don't know who it was. It was like, he was in the green room of the academy, not in the main room. In the main room was this fucking kids disco. I shit you not, right? So we went in there. We walked into this green room and we went to get a drink. I was like, "Can I have?" We was like, "We'll have 3 vodka and lemonades. It'd just be easier to get the same drink, you know. We'll get 3 vodka and lemonades." And he was like, "We're not serving any alcohol." I was like, "What?" He's like, "We're not serving any alcohol." I was like, "I've just come all the way up from Cork for a fucking gig, and you're not serving any alcohol." We walked straight out again and went down to a pub round the corner. We came back in for the gig. I had my pipe with me so I could blast that slowly, you know, so smoking joints and smoking my pipe in there. And then everyone looking around you. I can smell it. What's that? And I was like, "I don't know who that is, mate. I don't know what it is." But yeah, no, I couldn't believe it, man. No alcohol at a gig.
It's weird.
And then we looked at the tickets and it clearly said under 18, no fucking thing. And there's us fucking 40-year-olds and 30-year-old lads. I was like,
Kids are like, who brought our dad to this?
yeah, but no, to be fair, there was loads of us, like loads of old fellas at the back, just kind of going, "What the fuck have we done?" But at the same time, like, let's see while we're here, you know. And then we were really disappointed with him. It was the last leg of his tour. It was the last gig of his tour, and I thought I was stoned. He was fucked, and he just didn't like it. Here now, in fairness, his performance in terms of the lyrics and the clarity of the lyrics and how well he performed it was spot on. You thought it was an album and you could tell it was live. He wasn't miming or lip syncing, right? It was brilliant, but he just had no personality and he was just monged out of his head, and he looked sick, as in not like "you're sick, mate," as in he looked like he needed to go to the doctor. But it was, again, end of the tour. He's probably fucking, you know, but he in all these songs that he raps about, he doesn't do any drugs apart from smoking herb. So I can't imagine it. But he looked like he'd fucking had a few nights on the bag.
The one thing I'll say about, like, so we've been to a few gigs in France. Obviously, we were going to go to a lot more this year because more artists were coming in, but COVID.
Not now.
Not all that. But it's weird here. Like I don't know who the artists were. It was like French rap groups or whatever that like our friends obviously grew up knowing and stuff. But I was like, yeah, let's just go experience it. Or, you know, I'm not a huge fan of the French as a whole. So
okay.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. And like everybody's
just move there and live with one and marry in one, yeah. Yeah. But you don't like them.
Not the kosher part of it, but everybody's in there. Like, you can drink and smoke in venues for concerts here. It's the weirdest thing ever. Like, we smoke, like we enjoy smoking as normal, but like when it's in a room, I can't. I don't get it. And like the bang of weed in there, and like, you know, like we were boxed in there, and like come on, couldn't drive when we got out. We took like I think about 2 hours to get out to drive because we were just both like, Jesus Christ. Because
man,
2 hours. Okay, it's the French rules like that are so weird. I don't get it. But then you can't like.
You got a spare room? You got a spare room in your gaff for any gigs? Yeah. I'll come over and just get hotboxed and go sleep and then fly back again. Happy days. Don't even need to buy a bag.
It's the weirdest thing ever. I don't get the French law. I'm like, how do you allow this? Like, because you have kids who are 15, 16, 17 at these venues. Like, you don't have to be like over 18 to get into them. I don't get how you're okay with this, but all right, whatever.
Smoking's always been a big part of French culture and society, though. I assume, like, from what I kind of, you know, every French person I've ever met smokes.
It's the weird.
I don't know any French person that doesn't smoke. And we have a good few French people in our. I tell a lie now. That's a lie. Sorry, there's 2 there. I'm just thinking of our office there, and I would say there's 200 people in the building, and I would say there's got to be at least 40 French people, and there's probably 2 of them in my head, 2 or 3 max that don't smoke.
It's definitely more the younger generation that don't. So in my company, there's like 200 of us, and I would say there's probably about 50 of us who smoke.
Okay.
You know.
And how's your French? Do you fit in now? Are you parlez-vous français?
No. Well, yeah, day to day, like I have to, but work-wise, no, because I cover still UK, US market. So like my day to day in work is just in English. Bar meetings, like.
But what about? Yeah, I was gonna say, what when you go to the coffee machine or whatever and have a do? Is it? Do they speak English with you then, or?
It's so annoying because some of them were like, "Oh, we want to like keep improving our English." They're speaking English. I'm like, yeah, but I have to keep improving my French.
Yeah. I'm living in France, man. Like, I need to learn more than you do.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, your English is actually kind of okay. Like, calm down. You don't need it.
Does Clement? I keep calling him Petit Pois. That's very rude, man. That's just well, it's been that day. It's been that way since 2013. Fuck it, I ain't changing now, right?
I call him.
But yeah, but Like, does he not speak to you in French or anything like that? Like in the house, does he not help you? No.
No,
No. You
like
should get post-it notes and just stick them on everything, and you write it in English. His English is brilliant, though, isn't it?
fluid. Do you know what it is, Nick? And everybody's always like, yeah, why don't you? Why don't you? And I'm like, because he's now obviously since being back in France, his workload is more French. So he's like, if I start speaking French with you, my English is like, I have seen a drop in his English since he's come back.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, I've not lived in Spain for years, and my Spanish is nowhere near as good as what it was.
No,
But you go back there and you talk to them for a week, and by the end of your week's holiday, you're like, oh, hello.
You're back into it. He finds it hard to try and switch to French, and then I'm just like, ugh, like it'll take me longer to try and explain something in French, where I'm like, just turn off the fucking kettle, please. Like it's, you know, it's like that.
How long have you been living there now?
We were only saying this the other night. In the end of May, we're here 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, I was in Spain 7 years, and I would say it was only the last kind of probably 3 to 4 years that I started really kind of learning. I've probably told this story before on this, but I was working on the door of a nightclub or of a bar, and the guy who worked on the door with me was Cuban and didn't speak any English, and openly said to me, like, I don't speak English. I live in Spain. I speak Spanish. I don't need to speak English. My job, I don't talk to customers. I just throw them out if I need to. Do you know? He was like, but we're going to spend 8 hours a day on this door. We may as well
have to communicate.
If you want to talk to me, then learn Spanish, mate. You're in Spain. So he became my teacher, my professor, and
which I get. But for me, it can be laziness. Friends that I have here are either who lived in Ireland and have come back, or Frenchies that I work with are generally Frenchies who've traveled the world. Like the people I find harder to interact with and communicate with are French who don't travel, French who travel to France. And they're like, oh, you're foreign. And I'm like, fuck off. Like I was like, oh, like, it's kind of a mix. But our day-to-day life when we're out and about, or if the only thing I still struggle with is the bank and medical stuff.
Okay, that's understandable. Yeah.
They're not like.
And do you know what that is? It's because you're nervous going in there because it's important shit. So you don't think you know it. You think it's going to be terminology that you don't understand. And I'd say, like, if you actually relaxed a little bit, you'd be actually well able for it. I was the same, like, when we had Noah in Spain. Do you know what I mean? And like, and Sarah's Spanish is decent. Don't get me wrong. She had other things on her mind. So when the doctor's there, say, I'm trying to translate, push, you know, and all the rest of it. Yeah, fucking hell, man.
So like it does, those two things kind of still bother me, but everything else, it's like, like I will say one thing about Nantes is it is a little bit of a touristy city. So you do have a lot of like, there's a huge, like, I think it's a business university, but it's like American. So like, it's weird when I hear English walking down the street, because I kind of look and go, oh, like that's unusual. And then I realize it is kind of looking around going, oh, it is a little bit touristy. I get it. But there's nothing here for tourists to do, so I don't really understand why they're here. I'm like, what the hell? Like, don't get why you're in this city. Because like, we were saying it the other night when we were like, oh, we're here 4 years, and if we went back 4 years ago, we would not choose Nantes. There's no way in hell I would move to this. No, it is.
You've just built a house there, haven't you?
Yeah, but we're not. We moved out to the countryside, so we moved to the vineyards and built a house there. Nantes is such a dangerous city. Like, like I walked around New York, I felt safer. London, Dublin, like no problem, I'd walk around. Nantes.
Do you think it's as busy as those?
It's just the aggression is ridiculous. Like we've had before COVID happened, we had a year and a half of just continuous riots where like our office would send us home early or was shut down. I could be stuck in the middle of the city center with like bombs being thrown over, like smoke bombs, and you're just like, I'm trying to do my shopping. Like,
And what are they writing about?
So if you ask rioters, they'll all have a different reason they're rioting. Initially, it was to do with unemployment here. I have to say is like the government here do look after you. So if you're if you're made unemployed, I'll have my full salary for a year. So my dole will be my full salary for 1 year.
Nice.
After that, it gets reduced to like 25%. And then the year after, like, so gradually it reduces down to like minimum. But if you're just unemployed, you get like I'm going to say the wrong number here, but we say it's €900 a month, right, for unemployment. Could be slightly wrong with that number. And basically, they wanted to have the 1,400 as the minimum. to have for being unemployed. And the government were like, but if you're not willing to get back into work, we're not paying you.
What's the incentive?
You're not doing anything. They're increasing our taxes to like fund you guys, but you're still buying your iPhones, your PlayStations, your trap. Like, it's bullshit. Like, Then it was something to do with petrol or something like that. And then it turned out to be like, the government are lying to us. Literally, it was the stupidest
everything. And then it just become anything. Yeah, any reason to go out.
It got down. Like I was on the tram, so like we have like trams, and then you have like they're like mini trains to go from here into work. And it's only about a 30-minute commute, so it's not bad. And they literally came onto the trains and were like, "Get off the trains! We're hijacking the train." We're like, "This is bullshit!" Like, so then we have to get off the train, and they're like.
Yeah.
You know, like,
just your everyday getting to work and back becomes a threat all the time.
All the time. Like even on a night out, like if I'm on a night out, come on, do not get an Uber. Like if it's 5 o'clock in the morning, I will come and get you, because there's been like the
You're still staying out till them hours, are you? You're fucking mad.
Also, in France, nobody goes out until like 1 a.m. because it's open till 6 or 7.
So when we used to go out after work at 5 o'clock, what was your excuse then?
Nick, was so
no comment.
Yeah, let's not talk about this. He's like, no, you're not doing it because the rape cases here are like just rocketed up, and it's just like
the what?
Like the rape cases, like for
okay,
like, it's like it's not like and you see it kind of.
Can I give you some advice? Don't go to fucking nonce tourist information and try and get a job.
No. You're
not selling it. No, you're not selling it.
Selling it, Nick. 4 years ago, if we knew this would be the situation,
you wouldn't have been here. Yeah.
But as I said, there are perks. Like the health is obviously good for us. Obviously, with COVID right now, touch wood, so far we haven't been affected with work. But if it does happen, we know we're covered, and we're not like.
Yeah, and you're in the vineyards, right? So you got great wine. You'll be good.
100%. Literally, my back wall, and then it's just all vineyard after that.
Yeah, and do you get looked after? Do you go and knock on? Do they produce the wine on that vineyard or?
Yeah, they produce it there and they sell it here. But we moved in like 3 weeks before lockdown.
Okay.
Thank God.
So you're only recently in the house, right?
Yeah, we're literally like their house needs to be like
2 months.
Yeah, things need to be finished, but we're like, all right, it's livable. We're not. Yeah. But if we would have been in the apartment, I probably would have been back in Ireland now because.
Okay.
I'd kill him and the dog. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard. Like, it's hard being locked in with someone for 24/7. Like,
mate, being locked in with someone and 3 kids and a dog. Try that.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to people who can do that, because I'm like,
I know. Do you know what, man? Our kids are loving this, mate. I'm not even going to lie. Like the youngest one now, I'm getting a bit worried in terms of the youngest one. We were walking up to Nana and Granddad's the other day, and someone just came past, and he automatically just turned his back to them and went in behind Sarah, and that was a worry for me because he was very social and happy. He'd say hello to anyone and everyone, and now it's automatic for him because he doesn't really know much different. He's only 2, do you know? So this is so far, this is like 20% of his lifetime so far. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly, and if that's what he's like, hang on, if people aren't touching each other or hugging or embracing, am I not?
Yeah, and the Co in the middle guy again. He's kind of, we've had to wean him out. He had no interest in going out there last week. No, I'm not going out there. No, you've told me not. And I get it, right? Because he's allergic to egg, right? Or he was allergic to egg. So for years we were like, you can't have egg, and then they asked us to start introducing it to him. So baked in cakes and stuff, and then eventually it came to, right, you got to try some egg. And the kid was shitting himself. He got sick and everything. And he openly goes, Dad, I'm so nervous. You've been telling me for the last 5 years not to eat egg. And now you're asking me to eat egg. You know, you're telling me it's going to kill me if it touches me. And now you're trying to give it to me. What's going on? So, like, I see that's going to be the same with this coronavirus. You tell them for so long, you don't do this, don't stay away, don't go up there. And so we've had to ease him back into it. Whereas Noah, the oldest guy, he's the one with Asperger's. Don't give a fuck, mate. He's loving it. Openly says this is paradise.
He's in his world. It's comfortable.
He's paradise, man. He's not being forced to go and socialize with people, which we do all the time, because he enjoys it when he does, but he just finds it hard to go and initiate, right? Yeah. So we have to kind of nudge him to do that. We're obviously not doing that for the last 8 weeks, 6 weeks. So he's like, I can just do what I want and do my own thing and playing, and I can speak to my brothers. He's kind of happy out, like, and he's in school. And you know what? We've not had one meltdown just out of, which is mad. Like normally you'd have a couple of meltdowns a week. Since this, he's maybe one in 6 weeks. purely because he's not being forced to
He's
the
not
stresses of school and everything else. Like you see him coming out of school and he's doing his things, stimming they call it, is just regulating his senses. And he coming out of school, he does that mad, like to the point where you kind of going, "Whoa, are you all right, dude?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm doing my thing," but he needs to kind of regulate himself and sort himself out. But even his thing there is a lot milder and is not as much finite. And so yeah, this is doing him fucking well to good. But again,
it's a weird balance that like I had. The first 2 weeks was fine for us. So like my sister who's in Beijing, her eldest daughter is in uni in Spain. And she called me and was like, so my uni's has like 4 cases of COVID. Like, I can't get back to Beijing. Can I come to you? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So she came here and we were like, we were still going in and out to work. It was like no lockdown. And then it was like, you're in lockdown. We're like, what the fuck? So the first 2 weeks.
She's there now with you?
So she's now gone. We sent her to Thailand because we don't know how long this is going to last for us.
Yeah. So she could get to Thailand.
She could get, but then they cancelled all her return flights.
Okay.
So because the French government said nobody outside of Europe is allowed in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I think so. Like we're told our lockdown is lifted May 11th, but riots have just started happening in Paris against this. So we're like. So
people are going out and rioting about being let out.
Yeah, and then I'm like, you're doing this, like it's so stupid. They're doing this, and I was like, you do realize this is going to prolong more for us. So going out is another week. It's like, so I reckon the end of May for us, we'll get out.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, as I've had the first 2 weeks were fine. We were in routine. We were like, okay, work like da. I had a meltdown the 3rd week. I was like, I can't fucking do this anymore. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. Like, I literally was like, my anxiety was through the roof. I was done with being in the relationship with Clement. Like, it was literally just oh my God, I can leave. I can have my Irish passport. I can go back to Ireland. Like, fuck you, I'm not staying in this shit. And then Ireland went into lockdown. I was like, no, I'm good here.
If I'm locked down, I may as well be locked down wherever. Don't matter.
Alcohol is.
Do you know what, Begley? I was in a similar situation where I was getting quite negative, and then I listened to someone else's podcast, Paddy Houlihan, the MMA fighter, and he had Kiefer Crosby, who's another MMA fighter, on, and Kiefer Crosby he was like, yeah. We're being asked to sit in and look at fucking Netflix and look at TV. And, you can have a beer, you can have a glass of wine, you've got food in your belly, you've got a roof over your head. Think of the people that were sleeping in cars and or in war-torn countries. And like,
yeah, I agree.
Since I heard that, I tell you, my whole outlook, I've been like, yeah, it's not that fucking bad. I know we're getting stressed, but geez,
And I agree. It's like, but I still think we can allow ourselves to have those like what the fuck moments, but as
long as it's a short moment.
It's a short moment, and like as I said, we went back into. I think because here they were stopping a lot of like deliveries weren't coming in, and we were like I can watch Netflix, fine, I can watch all that shit, but there's only so much I can do with that. Like we were like, let's order stuff to like at least continue doing what we can in the house. They all got stopped and sent back because it wasn't a necessity, and we're like, Jesus, like. If you want us to stay in, at least allow us to get what we can to not kill each other.
Yeah, they're doing that here. Like it's the same home base and B&Q and all them places stopped. Like they shut down and then they stopped delivering. But for the first few kind of days, you could go down and everyone seemed to like you couldn't get sand and cement for love nor money. Like you couldn't get. Like people are like, well, I'm just going to do my garden. Do you know what I mean? I'll just do my garden. Well, and it was sunny and it all adds up. My God, I'm very happy with mine. I've just got a little bit more to do. I need literally I've fucking been at it, mate. So it's good. Listen, Begley, 36 minutes in, love, and that's perfect. Like I normally do about half an hour. A couple of them have ran on a bit longer, but I'll let you get back to lunch and work.
Joys.
We all need that, right? But listen, stay safe. Love to you. Love to Clement, me little petit pois, and we'll catch up again soon, man. If we're all stuck in again further down the line, I'll hit you up again and we'll have a chat. But
I'm sure there's plenty we can dive into.
Carry on to discuss. Love it. Thank you very much for your time today and stay safe, love. Take care. Peace out. Bye-bye.